Hey guys, I hope everything is going well with all the craziness going on. The first project that we will be doing with this whole remote teaching is just a photographer presentation. I know it looks a lot like the same thing that we did in Photo One, and that's because it is the same thing that we did in Photo One. I just ask that you do a different photographer. I know who my students did last semester, and I will check with Mr. Kramer as well as Mrs. White just to make sure that everyone is doing a different photographer. So be honest when you're doing this. Pick someone that you're interested in. Make sure you like their work. It makes the presentation process a lot easier. So let's just get into it. Obviously, right now, or as of now, I'm not sure if we actually are going to come back this year at any point. So the actual presenting part of it, you don't have to worry about. You're just making a presentation as if you were going to present, and I'm grading you on the presentation only. So don't worry about like trying to record yourself or doing anything like that. You do need to make a presentation on a professional photographer, and professional just constitutes, are they famous for their work? Are they well known? Do they shoot for some sort of professional organization, like a magazine company or something like that? Not just someone down the street that does photography once in a while, or once a month or something like that. Someone who makes a living doing it, owns their own business, is well known, famous, whatever. After you find your photographer, the requirements start with the title slide, just very first slide, so you'll need one. Have the photographer's name on there along with your name. To make it a little bit more interesting, consider including a picture of their work or a picture of them. It doesn't need to be anything special, but just to make it a little bit more interesting for us that look at it. Personal information, this is one slide minimum. You don't have to include everything on here. There's a lot of things. If you do find a lot, make sure you split it up through multiple slides, just so you're not trying to cram so much information on one slide. So if you find a lot, split it up onto 2-3 slides, something like that, just so it's not all jumbled together. But I'm looking for things like, when were they born? When did they die? Where did they live? What was their family like? How did they grow up? How did they get into photography? Things like that. Any other important background information as well you can include. Equipment, I want to know, do they shoot film, digital? What kind of camera do they use? What type of lenses? Any other type of accessories, editing software, things like that you can think of. Minimum is one slide, but again, if you find a lot of this, you can split it up onto multiple slides, especially if you want to include pictures of what the camera looks like or what the lens looks like or whatever the other equipment looks like. Style and subject matter, this is all about what do they shoot? How does what they take pictures of differentiate from what other people do? How is their style different? What makes them stand out from other photographers? What are they known for? What kind of themes do you see in their work? This is one slide minimum. If you find a lot of this and you have a lot of information, split it up. That way it's not crammed together into one slide. I want to hear a quote, or I want to see a quote about the photographer. This can be one of two things. It can be a quote by your photographer, or it can be a quote by someone else about the photographer. Check their website, any other online resource. If you can't find it, try to email them. That is if they're still living. If you can't find it and you've tried all those different things, talk to me. We should be able to figure something out or find something. But one quote minimum. After that, get into your emulated image, and what this is, you're basically taking one photograph from your photographer and you're trying to emulate it or copy it as closely as you can. And what I want you to do is, it's just going to be one slide. You're going to have the photographer's image on one side and your image on the other side so that we can see how similar they are. An example of this, the lion on the left. Obviously, no one has a lion at their house, but you might have a pet like cat or dog. In the case of what this student did, she posed her dog the same way. The eyes are looking the same way, head's turned the same way. Same lighting, she turned it black and white just like her photographer. And it looks really good. It doesn't have to be exactly on. It should just be as close as you can get it. You only have to do one of those. If you want to do more, by all means, do more. But one minimum. You need to have 10 photographs spread throughout your presentation. I don't want you to have 10 all in a row. I want you to have maybe your title slide, then 2 pictures, some background information, then 2 pictures. It doesn't matter. And speaking of that, after your title slide, the order of these really doesn't matter. If you want to have your background information, then your quote, then some pictures, then their equipment, you can kind of go out of order, but what I ask is that you spread these 10 images throughout your presentation, just so it's not 10 images in a row. Make sure they're high quality, so when you look online, if you use Google Images to search for these, make sure that you're looking for large images only, because I don't want pixelated images when they're small and you full screen it. I don't want them to be pixelated. It just doesn't look very good. Include the title and date if possible. If you can't find that, no worries. But include stories if you can about the photograph. Where were they at? What did they have to do to get this photograph? How long did it take them? Things like that. You can put that on the slide itself, or if you want, you could have the title image first, and then or the image with the photograph on it first, and then the background information on a slide behind that or after that. 10 images minimum, and I want 1 image per slide. So expand it as large as you can on that slide. If there's some space along the outside, that's fine. Don't worry about that, but just get it as big as you can. Beyond that, you just need sources. Your source should be 1 slide at the end of your presentation that lists any links or any websites that you used. It doesn't have to be formatted any special way. I just want the link. That's all I want. Link or links if you've used multiple links. Just additional things to think about. Make sure your text is readable. Don't put a dark font on top of a dark background. I should be able to easily read it. Make sure it's designed well. The speak clearly, dress well. That doesn't apply to this, obviously. Just make sure your presentation is designed well. A quick overview of everything. Doesn't have to be 5 to 10 minutes. We're not presenting. 17 slides minimum. If you want to go beyond that, by all means, you can go beyond that. Make sure you have a professional photographer, everything's designed well, laid out well, have everything arranged appropriately so you don't have all 10 images lined up in a row, or you don't have too much information crammed into one slide. Make sure things are spread out, make sure it looks really good, that it flows visually really well. And that's basically it. I put some resources at the end, so if you're not sure who you want to present on, there's a big list of famous photographers, historical photographers, as well as modern contemporary photographers that shoot a variety of subject matter, whether it's sports, weddings, outdoor stuff like wildlife, or anything like that you can think of, landscapes. Just make sure you pick someone that you're interested in. It'll make everything go a lot smoother. It'll be more interesting as you're doing this. That's all I have. Good luck with this presentation. I will include when this is due in the announcement on Google Classroom. And just make sure you do a really good job with this. That's all I have. So good luck, and see you guys in the next project. Bye.